the holistic development of every child and creating leaders, students of DPS Bokaro believe in and follow his words of wisdom. We now invite upon Devesh Ghosh, our head boy, to deliver the welcome address.
Good afternoon. This year has proved to be like no other. We have emerged better and stronger than before. I welcome you all to the annual function cum Scholar Badge Felicitation Ceremony, NAKSHATRA-2020. We are extremely privileged with the benign presence of our chief guest, Mr. V.K. Pandey, ED, MM, BSL and Pro Vice Chairman, Managing Committee, DPS Bokaro. A man of exemplary vision, known for his leadership qualities and selfless noble services. We welcome you, sir. We welcome our most revered principal, sir, Mr. A.S. Gangwar, a man who holds out extraordinary hope in the troubled times, empowering every young dipsite to be more committed to progress and development. Welcome, sir. We also welcome our Vice Principal, sir, Senior Headmistress, ma'am, Headmistresses, Headmaster, and our dear teachers. We are really excited to have the proud Scholar Badge recipients of 2019-20, wonderful parents, and the enthusiastic audience. Welcome everyone on this virtual platform. Thank you.
A man who accords highest priority to humanity and instills creativity in every child. We now request our Honorable Principal Sir, Mr. A.S. Gangwar, to enlighten us with his kind words. Sir, please.
Good afternoon. I welcome you all to this virtual celebration of NAKSHATRA 2020, the annual function cum felicitation ceremony of Delhi Public School, Bokaro Steel City. At the outset, I would like to extend a warm note of welcome to our Honorable Chief Guest, Mr. V.K. Pandey, ED, MM, Bokaro Steel Plant, and Pro Vice Chairman, Managing Committee, DPS Bokaro Steel City. Sir, your presence has added a new wave of excitement and encouragement among the students. It gives us immense enthusiasm and happiness to have you with us on this special day. Welcome, sir. I extend a hearty welcome to the supportive parents, loving students, and the dedicated staff. DPS Bokaro is a name reckoned with quality education and the extra A's that help us keep ourselves at the zenith is our diligent work and commitment. To create an atmosphere of academic ambience and to motivate the students to excel in their respective subjects, the school has instituted special awards. Students of classes 6 to 10 securing A1 or A2 grade in individual subjects with at least B grade in co-scholastic areas, and students of class 11 securing 75% and above in all subjects are awarded with scholar badges. Blue blazers with blue badges are awarded to all the students who have earned scholar badges for 3 consecutive years. Students bagging scholar badges for 6 consecutive years are awarded with a blue blazer, blue badge, and a blue tie with gold medal. Nakshatra means the confluence of stars, and we are here to felicitate the stars of tomorrow, a special day where we acknowledge and recognize the exceptionally talented and meritorious students of class 6 to 11 who have excelled with their exceptional academic brilliance. They are the ones who have not only made us and their parents proud, but also have set an example for others to aspire and excel like them. It is the determination and perseverance of these children that has made them achieve this feat. It is indeed a matter of pride that 456 students will be felicitated today. The most palpable emotion today is pride. I sense the pride that The students feel at this point having lived up into expectations of themselves, their parents, and their teachers, upholding the rich legacy of the school. I see pride in the eyes of my dedicated team of teachers who feel elated to see the children excel, and I am sure that parents are equally proud to see the hard work and dedication of their wards reap rewards. At this juncture, it would be only appropriate to share with all of you the golden moments written in annals of the school's history. The students have etched their name in the school records by securing the highest percentage both in class 10 and 12 board examination. Class 12 result, 100% result in science and commerce stream. 127 students secured 95% and above. 333 students secured above 90%. The average agreement is 91.47. School toppers is Adyasa Misra of science stream. She was also a district topper. While in commerce, Pragati Singh got the highest percentage with 96.6%. Class 10 result, 100% result, average aggregate is 87.91 and 126 students secured 90% and above. Harsh Rai with 99% is the state topper. 43 students have cleared the prestigious IIT JEE Advanced 2020 with Pransu Gaur securing 537 All India rank and Kumar Subham with category rank 10. More than 40 students have qualified NEET 2020 with Adyasa Misra securing 1,487 All India rank. The school bagged third position in art installation and quiz, whereas Anurag Sinha claims the best speaker trophy in debate in Manthan Literacy Fest 2020 organized by Villa Divya Jyoti Siliguri. The school team bagged first position in Logic Magic Cyber competition organized by DPS Mathura Road. Rishi Divyakirti stood first in All India Ganga Quiz. The quiz team bagged the first position in Acropolis 2020 national level quiz organized by Mount Litera G School, Amritsar, wherein 19 schools across 9 states participated. 3 students bagged nationally acclaimed KVPY scholarship. 8 students are among the top 10 from Jharkhand to qualify the National Talent Search Examination Stage 1. 7 students qualified Science Maths Talent Examination, that is SMTE, conducted by DPS Society in association with Science Olympiad Foundation. 6 students excel in national level of Sanskrit Olympiad. Priyanshu Kashyap and Sanjeevani of class 9 qualified the German scholarship exam to make their way to Colombo. 8 students from the school are among the 100 from India to qualify Hanoi Open Mathematics competition. Out of 45 students who have qualified from Jharkhand, 11 students are from the school to qualify the prestigious exam of RMO. Arnab Raman and Anil Akhil win the Champions Trophy for the 3rd time in continuation in CBSE Cryptic Crossword Contest. Winners in Nityanjali at zonal level held in DPS Nazira, Volleyball Championship in CBSE Cluster, Champions in Inter-DPS Basketball Tournament under 14 boys, Champions in under 19 boys Inter-DPS Basketball Tournament at zonal level. Overall Championship in Environmental Festival organized by BIT Mesra. First runner-up in Inquest 2.0 quiz competition. Adyasa Misra qualified for National Standard Examination in Biology, that is IAPT. Pransu Gaur qualified for National Standard Examination in Astronomy and Chemistry. 8 students of the school are among the 12 from Jharkhand to qualify for nationals in Vidyarthi Vigyan Manthan. 2 students qualified the first level of International Economics Olympiad. 3 students are selected for German International Youth Conference. Children are our strength and we derive energy from them and we look forward to seeing them on campus soon. However, we are in the midst of an unprecedented crisis. None of us had ever envisaged that we would witness a pandemic and students will be attending online classes. But this is a reality now. I extend my appreciation to all my students, the staff, and of course you dear parents who have helped us face this challenge head on, converting challenges into opportunities. With great expectations for a continuous march to the zenith, I once again extend a warm note of welcome to all of you and congratulations to my loving students as you have accepted the challenge to excel and made every moment count. Let us all have a wonderful time together. Thank you.
Ya Devi Sarvabhuteshu Shakti Rupan Sanstita Namastasya 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 Namo Nama. Goddess Durga indicates power or Shakti. Our institution firmly considers each and every girl as a deity and always put efforts to recognize their hidden supremacy. Let us unveil the power of Durga, presenting before you Durga Vandana.
Jaya Ma Jai Jai Jagat Janani Devi Mata Jai Jai Jagat Janani Devi Jai Jai Jagat Janani Devi Sura Nar Muni Asura Sevika Mukti Dayini Maya Harani Kalika Mangala Buddha Siddhi Sadani Parva Sharvari Shavanani Stapati Vira Karuna Karani Karamalika Jaya Jaya Jagat Janani Devi Mata Jaya Jaya Jagat Janani Devi Shambhavargani Jagat Jagat ki Janani Chadi Singh Chadi Kopa Thali Dhapat Samarto Sant ki Chamak Diti Damini Davank Sir Mukta Garimar Pati Sole Kanko Vikta Shamkesh Lata Lata Bhuj Ganda Paramano Prasad Khadi Aaj Mukh Chandra Ko Lal Lochana Bhai Laran ki Swaran So Khas Hai Tat Kali Hanat Har Daikya Ko Prabal Par Chanda Duti Chanda Chamunda Khadi Khati Jairat Mahi Pataki Mario Brahmadi Indradi Sanakadi Devadi Kritadhanya Jasagana Gayo Jai 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 Ma Shivani Jai 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 Ma Bhavani Jai 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 Ma Durge Jai Ma Durge Jai Ma Jai Devi Jai Dharma Charma Kara जय जय जग जननी देवी मां देवी मां देवी
That was
It is time to acknowledge the talent and honor the laurels achieved by the students. We commence the felicitation ceremony by beginning with class 6 of session 2019-20.
Starting with class 6A, Aditya Anukul, Aditya Raj, Amok Anand Jha, Anjali, Antara Sinha, Ashba Uruz Nazim, Jidajit Ghosh, Mohita, Priyasha Singh, Richa Rani, Setu, Supriya Singh, Yasharth Gautam. Moving on to class 6B, Ariva Angel, Harshit Kumar Jha, Kumar Kaushik, Pavitra Nath, Piyush, Ridhim Gupta, Rishika Datta, Rishit Shaw, Ritanmay Mishra, Sarthak Siddhant, Shubham Singh and Tanya Shri.
Now we move on to class 6C, Adya Rastogi, Ananya Priya, Diksha Kumari, Jacqueline Serene, Kanishk, Kunal Kaushik, Lokesh Nandan, Nikita, Saurya Anand, Subhash Sohasaria, Utkarsh. We move on to class 6D, Aditya Mishra, Aditya Raj, Anuj, Ayush Raj, Ishan Gaurav, Kavya Singh, Malvin Parira, Mansi Pandey, Mayank, Nityam Agarwal, Prapti, Raghav Roy and Soham Raj.
Now we move on to class 6E, Arav Yash, Avya Singh, Ayush Keshri, Anushka, Harshita Praneeth, Muhammad Akif Ayman, Priyanshu Shekhar, Satvik Shikhar, Shagun Verma, Sheetal Rajput, Siddhi Shri, Sneha Suman, Suraj Kumar, Sushant Kumar, Syed Arham Ashraf, Tazi Duja. Now we start with class 7, beginning with class 7A. Abhay Shankar Singh, Abhinav Kashyap, Aditya Kumar Sharma, Riddhima Mishra, Shan Mukherjee, Sweksha Sharma, Tanya Pandey, Vidhushi Singh, Yash Raj.
Now we move on to class 7B, Adya Mishra, Aditya Aryan, Amandeep Prakash, Aryan Singh, Krishna Shish Chakravarti, Niharika Manya, Om Patel, Rupesh Kumar, Siddhant Tripathi, Spandan Mishra, Shrishti, Ujjwal Singh, Utkarsh Raj, Vineet Kumar Jha. Now we move on to class 7C. Abhinav Abhi, Abhishek Roy, Aditya Baranwal, Aditya Kumar, Agrima Prasad, Ankit, Harshit Anand, Kanak Raj. Manisha Bharti, Ojas Luhani, Sweren Goswami and Surbhi Priya.
Now we move on to class 7D. Abhineet Sharan, Aditya Raj Chauhan, Aditya Ratna Jha, Anamika Raut, Anand Jha, Anup Jha, Anupam Raj, Arpit Bhaumik, Arush Banerjee, Aryan Kumar, Divyanshu Kumar, Kanishk Sharma, Mrityunjay Rapaj, Muskan, Nitin Kumar Singh, Pavni Kumar, Rishima Chandra, Sanidhya Khushi, Swapnil Snidh. Now we move on to class 7E. Ashish Kumar, Abhijit Thakur, Anchita Hazra, Darshwana Nandini, Krish Krejia, Ritesh Kumar Mahato, Sadhvi Jha, Sudarshan Arohi and Yashika Sahe.
Now we move on to class 8. Starting with class 8A, Adya Ranjan receives a blue badge and a blue blazer. Anish Das receives a blue badge and a blue blazer. Ankit Kumar Singh receives a green badge. Arnijay Singh receives a blue badge and a blue blazer. Arush Varun receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Darshana receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Harshita Gupta receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Himangi Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Priyanshu Mandal receives a green badge. Rakshit Raj receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Sanchita Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Shigra receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Suhani Manya receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Swayam Kumar receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. And Sweta Bhushan receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Moving on to class 8B, Aditya Kumar receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Astha Singh receives a green badge. Adrit Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Anshika Boral receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Anushka Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Ishita Ghosh receives a green badge. Lisa Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Mohit Kumar receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Naman Jain receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Shakshi Priya receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Shreyanshu Ghosh receives blue blazer and a blue badge. Shreyash receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Smriti receives a green badge. Suhani Kumari receives a green badge. Yashvardhan receives a blue badge and a blue blazer.
Moving on to class 8A, Astha Anand receives a green badge. Akshara Roy Sharma receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Ayushman Datta receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Drishti Parmar receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Krish receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Navya Suhasarya receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Raj Shekhar Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Rajshri Soni Bansal receives a green badge. Rishika Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Samriddhi Pratap Dubey receives a green badge. Sarika Sparshika receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Sayan Karmakar receives a green badge. Shreya Suman receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Sushmit Kumar Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Utkarsh Kumar receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. And Yashvi Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Now moving on to class 8D. Abhinav Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Amit Yashru receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Anshuman Bharadwaj receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Avantika Gupta receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Ayush Bhushan receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Bhumi Srivastav receives a green badge. Prachi Gupta receives a green badge. Kamareen Fatima receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Sparsh Raj receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Srikriti Kedia receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. And Tamanna Ray receives a blue blazer with a blue badge.
Now we move on to class 8E. Astha Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Abhinav Raj receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Akshat Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Archita Kashyap receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Bhumi receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Nikita Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Ryan Singh receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Shashank Nandan receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Soumyadeep Mandal receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Saurish Chaudhary receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Tanish receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. And Tanmay Kumar receives a blue blazer and a blue badge.
Now request our chief guest sir to kindly address the gathering with his words of wisdom. Sir, please.
Dear Principal Sri Gangubar, teachers, supporting staff, dear students and parents who are not here but are integral part of education ecosystem. This is my first visit to DPS Bokaro, and whatever little I have seen is quite impressive. And results we used to see in newspaper, and now we got information from principal sir that results of this school are also equally impressive. First of all, I congratulate all the children who have earned gold medal, blue badges, green badges. It was their effort, teachers' effort and parents' support that they have achieved it. My congratulations to teachers for their hard work, dedication, and great effort in keeping the flag of this school high as always. And in future also, I am hoping that this DPS Bokaro flag will be flying high. My message to students are that you are lucky to have education here, and you should thank your parents and school teachers for such a good education. Very few children get such kind of education, and these are trying times, so you should also spread message of safety first. Like in steel plants, you are all part of steel plant city. Like in steel plant, first thing is safety. Today, in today's scenario of COVID, I think safety should be the first thing in our mind, and children should should spearhead this message among all the society. Once again, my congratulations to all the children who have earned good marks, and it is their effort and hard work. And keep flag of DPS Bokaro flying high. Because of them, today Bokaro's steel city is not only known as a steel city but also a great education hub. So thank you all. Thank you very much.
We request our Honorable Principal Sir to kindly present the memento to our Chief Guest as a token of our sincerest love and gratitude. Sir, please.
Music is the art of expressing ideas and emotions in a significant sound form by using the elements of rhythm, melody, and harmony through instruments. Let us evoke and instill the spirit of boldness in our hearts by listening to the captivating and synchronized orchestra, a devotion to our real heroes of this COVID-19 pandemic as warriors.
The time is bad for the man, making our hearts so blind. What do you have, what do you find? The gods wanna make a we won't lose ourselves for the burning about us. Fighting for our lives and living our struggle together. We will never give up. We all are the warriors, and we will save this world. We will make it together. We will never give up. We all are the warriors, and we will save this world. Some people are very special, and still the one who we call passion. They don't care for their life. It's such hard time around. Never all are the warriors, and we sing this public together. We will never give up. We all are the warriors, and we will sing this song.
Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. We now begin with the felicitation of Scholar Batch for classes 9 and 10.
Starting with 9A, Abhijit receives a blue badge, Aryan Kashyap receives a blue badge, Hiten Raj Singh receives a blue badge, Krish Chanchal receives a blue badge, Kumari Shalja receives a blue badge, Mayank Raj receives a blue badge, Raja receives a green badge, Reenu receives a blue badge, Riya Ritika receives a blue badge, Shuryans Dev receives a blue badge, and Tanushri receives a blue badge. Moving on to 9B.
Advay Kumar receives a green badge, Anubhav Gupta receives a blue badge, Ayush Kumar receives a blue badge, Kshitij Tamboli receives a blue badge, Kumar Ankesh receives a blue badge, Manav Sarkar receives a blue badge, Mayank Sengar receives a blue badge, Prince Kumar receives a blue badge, Shashank receives a blue badge, Shubham Kumar receives a blue badge. Now moving on to class 9C, Anamika receives a blue badge, Asad receives a green badge, Chetan Singh receives a green badge, Pratyush Kumar receives a green badge, Ritul Kumar Singh receives a blue badge, Sadhav receives a blue badge, Sanya Kumari receives a blue badge, Shreya Thakur receives a blue badge, Sparsh Kumar receives a blue badge, Suryank Mishra also receives a green badge.
Moving on to class 9D, Aditya receives a green badge, Anjay receives a green badge, Aryan Singh receives a blue badge, Gauri Sinha receives a green badge, Harshita Ranjan receives a blue badge, Khushi Bharti receives a blue badge, Krish Raj receives a blue badge, Om Basant Singh receives a green badge, Priyanshi Sharma receives a blue badge, Sarthak Anand receives a green badge, Satyam receives a blue badge, Shashwat Raj receives a blue badge, Shreya Gupta receives a blue badge, Suhani Bharti receives a blue badge, and Vedika receives a green badge. Moving on to class 9E, Aditi Shikha receives a blue badge, Apurva receives a green badge, Aryan Bhardwaj receives a blue badge, Ashutosh Singh receives a blue badge, Ayush Kaushik receives a green badge, Harsh Rajdev receives a blue badge, Jatin Singh receives a green badge, Rudra Pratap Singh receives a green badge, Sanjeevni Kumari receives a blue badge, Shreyan Ghosh receives a blue badge, Suryansh receives a blue badge, Swastik receives a green badge, Tanmay Gaurav receives a blue badge.
Moving on now to class 10, starting with class 10A, Aryan Ved receives a green badge, Aditya Raj Verma receives a green badge, Akanksha receives blue badge with a blue blazer, Akhil Anil receives blue blazer with a blue badge, Akshit Rath receives blue badge, Achal Anand receives a green badge, Anshuman Ansh receives blue badge, Ayush Kumar Pal receives green badge, Dikshant Aryan receives green badge, Harsh Rai receives blue badge, Ipshita Kaushal receives blue badge, Kaushiki Chauhan green badge, Keshav Tiwari receives a blue badge, Kumar Shivan Sinha receives a green badge, Kushagra Patodia receives a blue badge, Lisa Gupta receives a blue badge, Manisha Kumari receives a green badge, Prakriti Priya receives a green badge, Praveer Ranjan receives a green badge, Ratan Priya receives a green badge, Ritamvara Sinha receives a green badge, Rohit Verma receives a blue badge, Sahil Sekhar receives a blue badge, Shambhavi Jha receives a blue badge, Shrey Viraj receives a green badge, Suraj Kumar Paul receives a green badge, Tanish Singh receives a green badge, Tejaswini receives a blue badge. Now moving on to class 10B, Astha receives a blue badge, Abhay Kumar receives a green badge. Abhinav Kumar receives a green badge. Aditya Sinha receives a green badge. Anishka receives a green badge. Anushka Srivastava receives a blue badge. Aprajita receives a blue badge. Arya Singh receives a blue badge. Atithi Chauhan receives a blue badge. Ayush Amlan receives a blue badge. Deepika Chaube receives a green badge. Harsh Raj receives a green badge. Ishika Datta receives a blue badge. Ivan Ahmed Hashmi receives a blue badge. Kapil Kumar receives a blue badge. Mimansa Singh receives a green badge. Naman Kumar receives a green badge. Nitish Kumar receives a green badge. Prerna Mishra receives a green badge. Priyanshu Gupta receives a green badge. Rishabh Anand receives a green badge. Saharsh Kumar receives a green badge. Sashank Raj receives a green badge. Shivam Kumar receives a green badge. Shreya Suman receives a green badge. Shishti Bharti receives a green badge. Swadha Swaroop receives a blue badge. Tanmay Kumar Sahu receives a green badge. Tanvi Shri receives a blue badge. Tanya Bharadwaj receives a blue badge. Yugansh Kumar receives a green badge.
Moving on to class 10C, Abhishek Kumar receives a blue badge, Aditya Raj receives a blue badge, Anisha Raj receives a blue badge, Amrit Raj receives a green badge, Amritanshu Jha receives a green badge, Aniket Aryan receives a green badge, Anish receives a green badge, Anshu Priya receives a blue badge, Apurv Singh receives a green badge, Ayush Raj receives a green badge, Ishan receives a blue badge, Fahad Shahab receives a blue badge, Harshit Kumar receives a blue badge, Kavya Jha receives a blue badge, Khushi receives a green badge, Nancy Raj receives a blue badge, Nishtha receives blue badge, Pratiksha receives green badge, Samriddhi Chaudhary receives green badge, Sanskriti Srivastav receives green badge, Saransh Harshit receives green badge, Sarvagya receives green badge, Shashwat Kumar Jha receives green badge, and Shraddha Raj receives blue badge. Shreyoshi Paul also receives a green badge, Sudhanshu Raj receives a green badge, Tanveer receives a green badge, Vishal receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Moving on to class 10D, Amya Devansh receives a blue badge, Aditi Agarwal receives a blue badge, Aditya Pal receives a blue badge, Akshat Kumar receives a blue badge, Areeb Iqbal receives green badge, Arya Vivek receives a green badge, Awesome Salam receives a blue badge, Ayush Kumar Jha receives a green badge, Ayushi Sinha receives a blue badge, Biswas Kumar Patel receives a green badge, Gaurav Kumar Singh receives a blue badge, Harsh Biani receives a blue blazer and a blue badge, Ishika Shankar Shivani receives a blue badge, Lavanya Srivastav receives a blue badge, Mitali Singh receives a blue badge, Rishabh Dasgupta receives a blue badge, Ritangar Bhattacharya receives a blue badge, Shakshi Kumari receives a green badge, Shambhavi Mishra receives a green badge, Shaurya Yashu receives a green badge, Shikhar Sharma receives a blue badge, Shiksha Pandey receives a green badge, Shivam Verma receives a blue badge, Shobhit Aryan receives a green badge, Shruti Shreya receives a green badge, Saurav Suman receives a green badge, Shrishti Srivastav receives a blue badge, and Shubhangi Dev receives a blue badge.
Moving on now to class 10A. Aditi Singh receives a blue badge. Aman Mohini receives a blue badge. Asmi Srivastav receives a blue badge. Ayush Palit receives a green badge. Drishti Srivastav receives a green badge. Ishank Anand receives green badge. Jahanvi Ranjan receives blue badge. Jigyasa Jha receives blue badge. Khushi Nandan receives blue badge. Milan Maji receives green badge. Mohak Malay receives green badge. Muskan Priya receives green badge, Naman Taneja receives green badge, Nishit Roshan receives a blue blazer with a blue badge, Nitika Singh receives blue badge, Rachita Singh receives a green badge, Dishit Divyakriti receives a blue badge, Saksham Kumar receives a blue badge, Satyam Kumar Thakur receives a green badge, Shambhavi Jha receives a green badge, Sashank Shekhar receives a blue badge, Soumita Sen receives a green badge, Soumya Thakur receives a green badge, Suhani Kothari receives a green badge.
Natesh Kautavam is a dance in the praise of Lord Shiva, the third god in Hindu Trinity. He is the god of destruction as well as the god of dance in his Natraj form. So here we present before you Natesh Kautavam.
It is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentration and power of will, 5% pleasure and 50% pain. That's the 100% method to conquer the game. Keeping this in mind, we continue with the felicitation ceremony of class 11.
Starting with class 11A, Arfiza Khatoon receives a green badge, Arfi Amber receives a green badge, Sneha Kajal receives a green badge, Shrestha Prasad receives it for the 6th time. He receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Sumit Kumar also receives a green badge. Now moving on to class 11B, Ayush Kumar receives it for the 6th time. He receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Parikshit Kumar receives a green badge. Rahul Dey receives a green badge. Shiven Kumar also receives it for the 6th time. He receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Utkarsh Kumar receives a blue badge. Varun Tandon also receives it for the 6th time. He receives a blue blazer, blue badge, blue tie and a gold medal. Vidisha Agarwal receives a green badge. Now moving on to class 11C, Aman Baranwal receives a green badge.
Moving on to 11D, Adarsh Raj Srivastav receives a green badge. Now we move on to 11E. Abhinav receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Amisha Singh also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Ananya Srivastav also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Anirban Bose gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Anurag Ranjan gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Debanjan Roy also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. Niranjan Verma also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. Om Shandelia also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. Saurabh Raj also receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue badge, blue tie and a gold medal. And Shivam Kumar also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Now we move on to 11F. Aditya Kumar gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Anurag Sinha is also getting for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. Aryan gets it for the green badge. Athar Tripathi gets a green badge. Avi Thakur gets a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Dipanshu Kumar also gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Kumar Nishant gets it for the first time and receives a green badge. Mayank Anand gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. Utsav Shekhar gets it for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. And Vipul Vaibhav gets it for the first time and receives a green badge.
Now we move on to class 11G. Aditya Agarwal receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue badge, blue tie and a gold medal. Ayush Vardhan also receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Khushi Dalmia receives a green badge. Tarun Kedia also receives for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue badge, blue tie and a gold medal. Now we move on to class 11H. Aditya Ray Mishra receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue badge, blue tie and a gold medal. Now we move on to class 11I. Divyanshu Dev receives a green badge. Harsh Raj also receives a green badge. Jay Gupta receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Manish Kumar receives a green badge. Navya Nihal receives a blue blazer and a blue badge. Nikhil Raj receives a green badge. Rishabh Mishra receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Shivans Pandey receives a blue badge. Shreya Shri receives it for the 6th time and she receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and gold medal. Siddhant N. Sharma receives it for the 6th time and receives a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Now we move on to class 11J. Harsh Raj receives a green badge.
Moving on to 11K, Aditi Rani gets a green badge. Ardhanas Bharti gets it for green badge. Athar Kaif gets a blue blazer, blue badge, gold medal and a tie as he gets for the 6th time. Ayush Kumar gets a green badge. Gautam Kumar Srivastava gets a green badge. Insha Raza gets a blue blazer, blue tie, blue badge and a gold medal. Jayanti Sethi gets a blue blazer, blue badge, blue tie and a gold medal. Rashid Hussain gets a green badge. Sparshika Mishra gets for the 6th time and receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal. Vishal receives a green badge. Juhi receives a blue badge, blue blazer, blue tie and a gold medal.
We now invite upon our head girl, Anushka Mukherjee, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Extraordinary are those ordinary who dare to challenge their potential and go the extra mile. Good afternoon and congratulations to the recipients of the Scholar Badge. NAKSHATRA-2020 has been a unique and unforgettable experience that brings confidence that nothing is impossible when we try. As we conclude, I, Anushka Mukherjee, Head Girl DPS Bokaro, deem it an honor to propose the vote of thanks. We convey our heartfelt gratitude to our Chief Guest Sir, Mr. V.K. Pandey, ED, MM, BSL and Pro Vice Chairman, Managing Committee, TPS Bokaro, a philanthropist with an exemplary administrative acumen for sharing his valuable time with us. Thank you, sir. We sincerely thank our Reverend Principal Sir, Mr. A.S. Gangwar, for his unflinching support and endless guidance and wisdom. Thank you, sir. We thank our Vice Principal Sir, Senior Headmistress Ma'am, Headmaster Sir, Headmistresses and our esteemed teachers who have been ever supporting and our closest aid whenever needed. Thank you. We thank the men behind the curtains and the entire DPS Bokaro fraternity whose contributions have helped in the smooth conduction of this program even during challenging times. We thank the Scholar Badge recipients, the proud parents and the audience for their wholehearted involvement. Last but not the least, we thank the compeers of the day, Shaurya Yashu and Shiksha Pandey of Standard 11. Thank you all.
Hence, we have come to an end of today's virtual Scholar Badge Felicitation ceremony. Thank you everyone. Stay safe and stay healthy. Life is an unfoldment and a revelation